Hi, I'm Chris, Head of Compliance at Expandly. I look after all of the quality aspects of the business and the compliance aspects. You're not going to have any problems with Amazon. You're not going to get delisted from any platforms. Your product is compliant. I basically am in charge of everything compliance. So any strategic moves, any content, any regulations, any advice, consultation will be coming through me. So quite a lot, actually. We've got such a wide range of expertise. We'll look at everyday items, household items, to cosmetics, medical devices, toys, and all of the stuff that goes on in and around those categories, really. So quite often you think I'm just moving one product to a different country, it can't be that hard. But in actual fact, a lot of these countries have got their own rules. So our knowledge allows you to tap into those countries and basically understand what the requirements are. So you've got so many different regulations, they're massive documents which require skill to read and understand. And then how do you apply those rules to each country? One of the most popular ones is food supplements. So starting off with ingredients. So, you've got a whole number of ingredients, whereas in actual fact, some of those ingredients aren't allowed to be used. They're banned. They've got restrictions on the amount that you can use. So compliance, the first case, you look at the product and you understand what's actually required. But then once the product is actually compliant, you've then got a whole world of registrations to go through and other hoops to jump through before it actually gets launched and be allowed to be sold. So food supplements is quite a complex category, but straightforward with the right guidance. Yes, so there's quite a lot of ingredients that come from the United States which aren't actually allowed, but the other complex thing is it actually changes all the time. So some ingredients that are allowed, in 6 months' time it may actually be not allowed because they've done further testing and understanding on the uses of that product. People often quite confuse labels. They should be how they look, but what it really focuses on is the content. So you can design your label however which way you wish, but it's more about getting the content right. So you can't have certain words on there. You can't have certain logos on there that you're not allowed to have. You're not allowed to make false claims. You're not allowed to put things in certain sizes, so there's size restrictions on text and logo minimum sizes and things like that. So we would take a label, any shape or form. A lot of people have different labels in different places of their product, but we would take and we'd have a look at that content, compare it against the requirements of the regulation, and then we'd provide a really comprehensive report on, first of all, what's wrong, is there anything missing, and then what do you need to do? How do you fix this? So in certain circumstances, we'd even provide that information, give full guidance. We'd have a phone call afterwards or a conversation and go through each step. So it is quite a comprehensive service. Last few years, we've built and made a lot of improvements on our ways of processing multiple products. We've got a lot of automation in there where we look at specific rules and there's specific requirements which are applicable across 1,000 SKUs or 1,000 products. So you've got the same applies to just 2 products, but it also applies to 1,000 products in the same category. So taking that process rapidly speeds up onboarding somebody who's got 1,500 products ready to go. It's not difficult, it's more about time. So for Cosmetic, you've got to have 4 key stages completed before you can launch the product. Now, in order to start the first stage, you've got to have all the right documentation for the ingredients. Then you start reviewing the formulation, you start looking at real fine details to understand, is this formula, am I actually allowed to sell this product? Is this formulation correct and allowed? Once the formulation has been approved, you then have to start generating what they call a safety report. So the safety report looks at how many hazards are associated with the product, what sort of wording needs to go on there. So there'll be a label check that takes place and reviewed. You'd comment on allergens, you'd comment on certain other aspects of the product. Once the safety report's been generated, you would then create a product information file, which is a comprehensive document, but it's more about the time it takes than what's actually in there. If everybody's got everything that's prepared already, then our team can look at that quite rapidly and get everything produced, and you can start selling quite quickly. But it's in the preparation of all of that. If you don't have something, it can take quite a long time to obtain it. So the platform will basically be one place where your whole compliance journey would be really seamless. So that's from the tax registrations at the very beginning. The labels will be held there, the supporting documentation will be held there. But it's not just a document dump, it's really concise, and the documents are actually at a SKU level. So everything will be attached to the SKU. Then once everything's been onboarded, you've got everything at your fingertips. You can download templates, you can get access to all the correct information, plus the team have access and can observe and can work on the account. It's all in one place, so there's no gaps in communication, and everybody can see everything that was going on. So it's really cool. For tax, we've got access to every single country, every single member state, plus the UK. We can access that and carry out any tax work and filings. For product compliance, you've got multiple companies out there that will focus on food. There'll be food experts, there'll be toys or general product experts, they'll focus on cosmetics, whereas our expertise really is across the entire product range, category range, and we know a lot about everything really. So no matter what the category is, no matter what your product is, we can service it. So product compliance, we've had clients ship air freight, expensive air freight, and it's not been imported properly. There was incorrect labelling on the product. It sat at the airport and generated about £7,000 worth of storage costs, purely because the paperwork wasn't correct and the labelling was incorrect. So we then helped them and rectified all of that. Yes, that expense couldn't be helped, but the product was then bought back correctly, and now they're online selling. %, yeah. So they just thought, right, I'm going to ship the product, let's get it over there and start selling. So now another example for tax related, so import taxes, shipping taxes, commercial invoices, there's certain parts of that which can be reclaimed. Now, previous other companies have messed people about, but what we've seen with a couple of people is all of the problems brought to us, we've gone through it logically, and we've seen clients come back with tens of thousands of pounds in refunds. So it can be quite a successful journey with us, even if you've had problems with other companies, so don't be that scared. So You're probably thinking, right, I've launched, I'm selling the product. What happens in 6 months? What happens in 12 months? Something changes to my product. So we quite regularly, and we have to, check all of the regulations. We check the national registers. We're looking for key changes, whether it's levels of ingredients or any banned products or any changes to testing levels, testing standards as well. And we'll quite simply update you. So we'll give advice on what changes need to happen, how you can go about doing that, and when it needs to be done by. There is quite a lot of flexibility on those changes, but the other thing we'll do is, so as it's an annual based service, we will recheck, reapprove any documentation. So if you've got any certification that's going out of date, we'll let you know about that. And again, we can always help and advise on whatever changes are needed. It may seem quite daunting, absolutely, but the hard work needs to be done at the front end. So you've got everything out of the way, you've got all of the compliance checks carried out, you've made changes to your labels, you've gone through the registration processes. Some countries are longer than others, but once you've done all of that hard work, then basically you're free to start selling. You're not going to have any problems with Amazon, you're not going to get delisted from any platforms, your product is compliant, you've got everything sorted, and you won't be paying any storage fees, unnecessary charges and things like that. So yeah, get the hard work done. It is quite daunting, but with our guidance and advice, it's quite straightforward.